प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्.
So when we work naturally out of our own qualities and whatever is required by the society around, in the nature, whatever the need is, according to that, naturally when we act, not carried away by the desire and ego, then it becomes an offering. That is the archana. That is the yajna. So it is actually becoming a contribution to the universal yajna of the universal Lord. The whole creation is a yajna going on. There is no desire anywhere. Desire is a problem for us only. Everything is naturally doing its own. Even the destruction is a natural process. So many destructions are taking place parallelly, creation, destruction, janma, mrityu, everything is going on. There is no shubha, ashubha, no good, bad, anything. All the things are there. Good is there, bad is parallelly there. Everything is hosted by the truth. So after saying here, he is saying siddhim vindati manavaha. That means swakarmana tam abhyarcha. If we do as an offering to the Lord, whatever we are doing without ego, without desire, then we attain perfection. Perfection, just now they said that sakarmana, how we attain perfection by doing our own, being engaged in our own work. And also in the next verse he says, Swabhavaniyatam karma kurvannapnoti kilvisham. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat. Swabhavaniyatam karma kurvannapnoti kilvisham. He said that there will be some trouble in anything you do, there will be some good bad element in that. But if it is your natural work, not guided by desire or ego, then that is the best. Don't try to follow others' karma. That is whatever is natural to others. We took the example of military, police, spy. They have always something they will not like to do, but they have to do. And if they are taking to that, they have to. Svabhavaniyatam karma kurvannapnoti kilvisham. Particularly in this case, when Arjuna fights and his grandfather and teacher happen to be on the other side, by killing them also he will not have any sin. Because Arjuna is supposed to fight the war. That is his svabhavaniyatam karma. Now, in the 49th verse, he says, Asakta buddhis sarvatra
Asakta buddhis sarvatra
Jitatma vigataspriha
Jitatma vigataspriha
Naishkarmya siddhim paramam
Naishkarmya siddhim paramam
Sanyasena adhigacchati.
Sanyasena adhigacchati.
Here I went back to 5th chapter, 6th chapter to see the definition of sannyasa, etc. That work cannot be completely eliminated. And sannyasa means na niragnir na chakriya. A person who is not doing any religious karma or other secular karma, he is not a sannyasin. By that you cannot say he is a sannyasin because he is not active. He is not doing any secular work, neither any religious rituals. But who is a sannyasin? Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha. Who is not taking refuge in the result, that it is a personal gain. Whatever is the result, objective result will always be there. We don't have to bother about it. But from that I will have some personal gain, and with that I will become happy. If he is not linked to that I will become happy and this is what I want to do, then karyam karma, whatever work comes he does, then he is a sannyasi. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. Such a powerful statement here made there. Na niragdir na chakriya. So in Bhagavad Gita always he is emphasizing on internal attainment. The external sannyasa he is generally not speaking about. In some cases he has spoken, it is in a different way. And similarly that Naishkarmya Siddhim, generally it is taken in the form that he will not do any activity at all, the ultimate leaving all activity. That meaning is there for Naishkarmya Siddhi. But here that is not so. It is an internal attainment. Now here this Naishkarmya Siddhim, when we are going to the Samadhi, there we are coming to know the Nishkriya Brahma Visa or Nishkriya Atma. That there is no activity at all, because there is no two. It is beyond all duality. There is no question of any activity there. So he comes to know the non-changing, non-active Atma, the consciousness. He comes, that is the Atma Sakshatkara. The first what we do by meditating is this, that there is no activity at all, no change at all. How does he get? Sannyasena adhigacchati. By renouncing all the results that they have said, anashrita karma phalam, that he doesn't want anything from anywhere, anytime. Like that, when he renounces, then what happens? His bhogecha is renounced at that time. We have been discussing it repeatedly, that I want to enjoy something from the world. So always our mind is looking for something to have enjoyment. Even in meditation also, if we get a touch of bliss, I want to have that bliss. That is also looking for something. When all these are renounced, then automatically he will be in the non-active Atma or Self, Atma Sakshatkara he will have. Now that is not the end. That is only a state, only an attainment which he is having by the Karmaja Siddhi. That means by offering his karma to the Lord, he is getting freed from desire and ego, and he is able to get into that. After that, he says that Siddhim Prapto Yatha Brahma Tathapnoti Nibodhame Samasena Iva Kaunteya Nishtha Jnanasya Yapara. After that Siddhi, that perfection, whatever he got, then how he is attaining the Brahman, I will tell you in brief. This is what it is. Now, go to 5th chapter, beginning 5.21. Beginning now, 5.21. Bahyasparsheshvasaktatma
Bahyasparsheshvasaktatma
Vindatyatmani yat sukham Sabrahma yoga yuktatma
Sabrahma-yoga-yuktatma
Sukhamakshayam-ashnute. See, this verse you should keep in mind. You can mark it also. It's a very important verse because he says, Bahya sparsheshu asaktatma vindati atmani yat sukham. When we can take away our sakti, our clinging to the sensory sukha. Bahya sparsha means the indriyas are coming in contact with the objects, outward situation. And that gives us the usual sukha, the happiness we get. Now, if you are not clinging to that sensory happiness, bahya sparsheshu asakta atma, this is essential for getting into samadhi, getting into the stillness of the soul, the impersonal stillness of the soul. Vindati atmani yat sukham. Atmani means in the atma, whatever sukha he gets. That is when he is in samadhi, he does not have any contact with the outward world, nothing. Then he gets flooded with the happiness. Because the happiness is the property, it's a natural coordinate of the soul. Not knowing that we run after the other things. When we get the desired object, So for some time the desire is eliminated. Immediately the sukha which is not naturally flowing out of the soul, natural parameter of the soul, that we start feeling, and we feel that the sukha we are getting from the outer object. In our Shastra there is a beautiful example. They say a dog, you give a dry bone, it will go on biting. That bone has nothing, it's a hard piece of bone. But more he bites, he gets blood from it. Actually the blood is coming from his own gum. As the dog is biting, blood is coming from there. But the dog thinks that it is coming from the bone. So it goes on biting hard, still more, and more blood comes, so he relishes it. Our Shastras compare it to our Vishaya Sukha, that is object. Actually the Sukha is coming from, it is our soul property, our natural heritage. But we think that the Sukha is coming from the object we are biting. And so we bite more, और भी पैसा चाहिए, और भी बिल्डिंग चाहिए, ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए. वो चाहते चाहते कब जे सुखा दुख बन गए, वो हम लोग by asking for more and more, sometimes the sukha gets transformed into dukkha. It becomes a stress, it becomes a torture for us. That we are not conscious of. So, when we are in the Atma, Atmani, Vindati Atmani Yat Sukham, when we are in the Atma Sthiti or in the Samadhi, we get flooded with joy which is a natural property of the soul. So the sukha he gets, sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam asnute. This is Atmani, mark the words, you have to know a little Sanskrit here. Vindati Atmani yat sukham. When he is in Samadhi, he is resting in the Atma, that is inside. There he is getting the joy. The same joy becomes never-ending and everywhere. Sab Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. When he connects himself to the Brahman, which is the substratum of the whole universe, on which the whole universe is appearing to be. So when he understands and gets merged into the Brahman, then Sukham Akshayam Asnute. It becomes Akshaya Sukha, means that Sukha never ends. Here what happens, the moment he comes out of the Samadhi, that Sukha is gone. So he may again want it and again try to go, but it may not happen also. Always it may not happen. When we are desiring it, it will not happen. But it is a kshana sukha. It's a momentary sukha. That state only is sukha. That sukha becomes a permanent, never-ending sukha, akshayam sukha, akshaya sukha, when he becomes a Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. This verse is very important because the first line is referring to Atma Sthiti, and the second line is referring to Brahma Sthiti. So in understanding all the later ones, it becomes a guideline that one is Atma Sthiti, one is Brahma Sthiti. Now the purpose of Bhagavad Gita and all is to take us to Brahma Sthiti, not in Atma Sthiti. Now he is saying that Siddhim Prapto Yatha Brahma. This Atma Sthiti he has discussed in the 49th verse. Naishkarma Siddhim Paramam Sanyasena Adhigacchati. Now after getting this, how he goes over to the ultimate Jnana Nishtha. Siddhim Prapto Yatha Brahma Tatha Apnoti Nibodhame. Siddhim Praptaha Yatha Brahma Apnoti Tatha Nibodhame. After getting this Siddhi, how he attains to Brahman, that I am going to tell you. Samasenaiva, in brief, in essence, I am going to tell you. That is called the Nishtha Jnanasya Yapara. That is the supreme Nishtha to knowledge. That is the Jnana Nishtha. So, if you have been careful, you will understand that there was initially, it was Karma Yoga, that we were always offering all our work to the Yata Pravritti Bhutanam, to the truth, to the Lord. Offering means by renouncing our ego and desires. By doing that, when we are attaining this Nishchala, the still Atma, we are able to get the Atma Sakshatkara, thereafter to get the Jnana Nishtha. So we become fit for the Jnana Nishtha. Earlier, why Arjuna was asked to do the Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga? Because he was not fit for Jnana Nishtha. Repeatedly he is saying, Arjuna is again and again asking, if this is the knowledge, why are you asking me to fight the war? He is saying, no, it is not for you. It is for those who have renounced everything. For them it is okay, but you are a Kshatriya, you are always 13 years you have contemplated on war. So I will take you to the same level of Brahma, the attainment of Brahman, but through your work. So that is the Karmaja Siddhi. Through his work, what is happening? When he is attaining this perfection, Naishkarma Siddhim Paramam Sanyasena Digacchati, then he becomes fit for the Jnana Nishtha. The same path, it is becoming, that is why he said it is not two different paths. It is a twofold path taking us to the same goal. The ultimate is knowledge. But he became fit for the complete dedication, the exclusive dedication to knowledge by pursuing the karma and by that purifying his mind, buddhi, everything by renouncing the ego and desires. Is it clear or not? So he now becomes fit for pursuing the Jnana Nishtha. So this Siddhim, whenever it is coming, you have to relate it to the corresponding. Here again Siddhim he is saying, so you have to relate to the verse 46 and 49. Both places he has mentioned about the Siddhi. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma.
Siddhim prapto yatha brahma. When
you are studying at this 49th verse, you should make a note that see 5.21 for Atmanishtha and Atmasthiti and Brahmasthiti. Then you will be able to relate. Otherwise, you will forget. Later on when you read it, nothing will come to your mind. So some note should be there for referring to that. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma.
Siddhim prapto yatha brahma.
Tathapnoti nibodhame.
Tathapnoti nibodhame.
Samasenaiva kaunteya.
Samasenaiva kaunteya.
Nishtha jnanasya ya para.
Nishtha jnanasya ya para.
Nishtha word means the ultimate. That is ultimate, the parakashtha. Nishtha means complete dedication to that, the ultimate dedication to knowledge. Now the 51, 52, 53, these three verses should be read together, because what is this Jnana Nishtha he is saying? See, reading this you will understand that although he has got the Atma Sakshatkara, that is he has known the stillness of the Atma Sakshatkara, that is non-acting Atma, he has already experienced in Samadhi. And by sannyasa. Sannyasa means renouncing the phalatyaga and all that. But still the sadhana continues in its full measure to go to that exclusive Jnana Nishtha. What is the sadhana? He is now discussing in these three verses. We will read together and then one word by word I will explain. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto.
Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto.
Dhrityatmanam niyamya cha.
Dhrityatmanam niyamya cha.
Shabdadin vishayams tyaktva.
Shabdadin vishayams tyaktva.
Ragadveshau vyudasya cha.
Ragadveshau vyudasya cha.
Vivikta sevi laghvashi.
Vivikta sevi laghvashi.
Yatava kaya manasaha.
Yatava kaya manasaha.
Dhyana yoga paro nityam.
Dhyana yoga paro nityam.
Vairagyam samupashritaha.
Vairagyam samupashritaha.
Ahankaram balam darpam.
Ahankaram balam darpam.
Kamam krodham parigraham.
Kamam krodham parigraham.
vimuchya nirmama shanto
विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तो
brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That means he becomes fit to become Brahman. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That is Brahmavit Brahmaiva bhavati. One who knows Brahman finally realizes Brahman, he becomes Brahman. So he says Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Kalpate means he becomes fit to realize the Brahman or become Brahman. So for that, when all these words we have to understand the whole practice. Now here is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita will not be vague about anything. Right from the beginning you see in second chapter, when Krishna presented the Sankhya Yoga, immediately Arjuna asked that Sthita prajyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kim asita brajeta kim. That means, how do you define a sthita prajna? Who has, one is first is samadhistasya sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. Bhasha means definition. How do you define a sthita prajna whose consciousness is still, who is in samadhi? Because he will not know whether he is sleeping or he is in samadhi or whether he is thinking all these things. Nothing will be known from outside. So he wanted the definition of the internal state of a person, of the seeker when he is in samadhi. Second line he says, Sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kim asita brajeta kim. When he gets up from the samadhi, he is interactive person. So how does he speak, how does he sit, how does he move around? This is a figurative expression. That means how does he interact? That means will there be a change in his interaction in the life so that we can make out that what are the insignia of a Sthita Prajna or Sthitadhi. So it becomes very specific there, and then he discusses all the qualities he will have. It is called Sthita Prajna Darshana, the second chapter, end part of it, which ends with the Apuryamana Machala Pratishtham and all. Not only that, when he is saying that these are the lakshanas of a Sthita Prajna, these are the signs, insignia of a Sthita Prajna. For a seeker, those becomes the pursuit, practice. That is, whatever the knower, the way the knower behaves, we will not know the knower's inner mind, but we can follow whatever the way he is behaving, the way he is interacting. We have to understand, we have to analyze, when we have to appreciate where lies the poise, where lies the unaffectedness, where lies the universality, universal love, or where lies the non-selfishness, where lies the desirelessness. All these we have to analyze from his behavior. I have given earlier enough examples for that also, that how we make mistake in analyzing the behavior also. So that was it, that nobody can say that, well, I have known and I have known Brahman and I am a knower. You can make out from his behavior. Not that fully you will know, but certainly some behavioral traits have to be there from which you can analyze. At least it is not for others to know, actually. They talk about the lakshanas, the signs, so that we can analyze ourselves. It is not for analyzing others or knowing whether the other person is a Sthita Prajna or not. It is to know ourselves that have I approached, how much I have approached, do I have this quality, do I not have this quality. It is all meant for our own analysis, our own inspection. Similarly, in the Bhakti Yoga, normally Bhakti Yoga means we talk about God there. God is this, God is that. Bhagavad Gita is not like that. The whole Bhakti is inverted on the devotee. That is, Bhakti means you have some 24 qualities. If you have this, then you are the greatest Bhakta. Otherwise you are not. So whether you are worshipping God, whether you are going to the temple, or whether you are doing this, that, how much of prasada you are giving, offering to the Lord, nothing. It is all to do with your character. What are the bhakti lakshanas? So, similarly, in the Jnana, 13th chapter, he discussed Jnana and then said 20 qualities, assembly of 20 qualities, etad jnanam iti proktam, ajnanam yadatonyatha. That is, whether you have known Atma or Brahman or it is not accepted. If you have these 20 qualities, then only etat jnanam iti proktam. This is called jnana. Ajnanam yadatonyatha. Anything else is ajnana. So it should come as, it should be apparent from the behavior. It should be translated in the behavior. Not to analyze others. Again, to analyze yourself. That how much my knowledge has become maturated. Always we can, wherever it is going off, we have to analyze and we have to understand how much still I have to go, or where I am failing, what is happening. Similarly, Gunatita Lakshana. Again, assembly of quite a few, enumeration of a number of qualities, which says who is a Gunatita. So here again, Nishtha Jnanasya Yapara. Like that, every chapter you will find like that. Not every chapter, but it is intermittently coming again and again. Wherever there is a chance of misunderstanding our position, they are cautioning us that it should be translated in the behavior. Because Bhagavad Gita fundamentally presents the basic philosophy or basic purpose is not to run away from life and know the divine in your samadhi or in the cave or in the forest. No. It is to make the life divinized. You may go to the samadhi, you may practice it as a part of the pursuit. But coming back to the world, you cannot be the same worldly person. It has to undergo a change. Only when the whole interaction life undergoes a change, then only you will be considered a proper knower or devotee or whatever. So whether it is devotion, whether it is knowledge, whether it is karma yoga, everywhere that there are number of qualities have been enumerated, and that will tell us how far I have gone out. It's to analyze our own self, not for others. So here he is saying that what is the jnana nishtha? That is, if you claim that I am completely devoted to exclusive knowledge, you check whether these are true of me or not. That is, whoever is saying, he should check his own mind that whether I am following this or not. I cannot say that I am fully dedicated to knowledge without having these. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto. First is the vishuddha buddhi. The intelligence has to be purified. Now, what is the meaning of purified intelligence? I have explained over all these days. What is that? When the intelligence is not clinging to the fragmented appearance of the worldly objects and running after likes and dislikes, haunted by ragadvesh, etc. So the intelligence is able to see the unity in the diversity. That we will, in our interaction life, diversity will be there, but behind that we will know that it is all appearing in the consciousness, in the Atma alone. Nobody is different in that. So, buddhya vishuddhaya yukto. That is, not only that, I also said that buddhi should not look for the truth as an object. That is also vishuddha buddhi. You get it? That normally we are looking for the Atma or self also as if it is different from me. In meditation also we are trying to know the self as if it is different from me. That is also ashuddha buddhi. Why it is happening? Because always we are wanting something from the world to make us happy. That is tendency to have a second different from me, so that we can enjoy that second.